Hey, Pat Walsh here. Here's a question for today. Will you stand in the gap or are you going to watch from the sidelines? We are going through so much turmoil in this country and in the world that we need people to stand in the gap and fight evil. It really comes down to that. And if you ask people, what's the root of evil, a lot of people are going to just automatically say, oh, money's the root of all evil. And yeah, and they'll cite a scripture, Timothy 6, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. But in reality, that scripture warns that love of money is dangerous. Money in itself is not. It's just a form of currency to, buy, sell, all that kind of stuff. But the love of money is dangerous. And that's just a symptom of a larger issue. The root of evil runs deeper than just money. It involves ego, it involves greed, it involves hatred. And the opposite of evil is not just the word good or to be good. You can be good and be an atheist. That in my book, the opposite of evil, that ego, greed, and hate, is faith, love, and hope. And those are the qualities that define our moral background. And evil isn't just satanic, scary-ass movies or people that are mass murderers or the big, flashy examples of evil. It doesn't always look like a villain. Evil can be ambition that's gone unchecked, pride that's disguised as a principle or ideology, twisted into justifying being mean and cruel. Those things are evil. And St. Augustine would call it disordered love, that you're loving the wrong things more than what is right. C.S. Lewis was famous for saying that pride is the fountainhead of evil. So that's that ego, that pride. And it can come across as very well-meaning. Oh, I'm doing this for your own good. When in reality, no, you're not. Your ego, your pride, your greed, your dislike or hatred for somebody or something is really what is driving your behavior that you're claiming is for the good of the order. And even small acts of ego like that, oh, I'm disciplining you for the good of the order, and that discipline is excessive, has an outward ripple that it can cause harm to families, to organizations, to communities, and to whole nations. And that's why I believe that faith, hope, and love are not abstract, sissified, if you want to call it that, weak signs of weaknesses, that they're really the only thing that shields us and anchors us and guides us for navigating through life and through challenges and through moral storms. And if we don't have those three core values in guiding us in what we think and what we say and what we do, that's how we end up where we're at right now in a world of, just vicious banter and language and arguments and verbal battles and physical battles. All this kind of begs the question is like, then why do some people lean into and follow that route of ego, greed, and hatred? And I think there's three influences to answer that question. One is, what is your worldview? What lens do you see life through? I hate everybody and everything. If you want it done right, do it yourself. I'm going to lead from the front and do what I tell you to do because I said so. What's that worldview of life and where you fit in it? And are you the center of that worldview? The other thing is, quite frankly, that there's a theological influence on evil and on good, and that's how do we understand God? What is our moral compass? What is our purpose in life? And have you even thought about it and actually come up with an answer? And if you haven't, then you're on that lazy river ride. You're just drifting along with the flow, and you have that it is what it is mindset, and that will impact how you lean towards ego, greed, pride, hatred, dislike, whatever you want to call it. And then there's a philosophical influence, I think, too, that goes beyond just your individual internal worldview, your faith or theological view and understanding God, is this philosophical view. And that is, what is your reasoning for making the decisions you make? And if it's that egocentric, my reasoning is always driven by what's in it for me, what's best for me, that's going to impact your behavior and whether you're standing in the gap and defending against evil, or you are even unwittingly, not intentionally, committing acts of evil that society says, oh, well, that's okay. There's a book I read back it was in the 70s. You're okay, I'm okay. And that kind of mentality drives that egocentric, is I'm the center of the universe, and I'm going to always do what is best for me. I am first. Everything and everybody else is second. And if that's your philosophy, then that's going to drive your behavior. Now, I understand this is not abstract. This is not kind of psychobabble kind of stuff. The reality is our culture and how we view the world, how we view God and our purpose and moral compass, and how we view our philosophy in life is shaped by family, it's shaped by friends, it's quite frankly shaped by the media and your personal experiences. But we have a history of thousands of years of people who face traumatic, life-threatening, difficult situations who still chose the path of righteousness and good in the battle against evil. You can look at folks like Viktor Frankl. Look at Auschwitz. That what went on there in how people stepped up, and there's plenty of stories. Saint Maximilian Kolbe that intentionally chose to stand in that gap against the evils of the world. Now, I know some people are going to go, well, you can be good and not be a person of faith. I get that, but I am confident that faith, hope, and love are the fullest expressions of our moral character and our virtues, and that's the path that we should be taking. Some people will say, and I've gotten this, they don't like the word warrior. They want something more genteel because warrior seems like such a violent word to use about killing people. I mean, that's really where people first jump off to. I would suggest to you that my use of the word warrior in the definition is a metaphor. It stands for standing up, showing up, and defending what you believe. That's what a warrior does. And it's not unlike in Ephesians where we're called to put on armor in the spiritual battle. And they're not talking about literal battle of going to war with some other human, that we're called to put on the armor of God. And it's a metaphor for engaging and being prepared to battle in the spiritual realm. And evil is in the spiritual realm, and it is expressed in human behavior. So, standing in the gap, what's that look like? From a warrior perspective, it looks like this to me, that you defend justice, you defend truth, and you defend the least, the last, and the lost in this world, the people that are vulnerable. And you stand up and defend them, and you commit all resources and energy to do that. And then at the same time, the servant part of your makeup is to place the needs of others above your own comfort, doing the things, the hard things, the sacrificial things that are not comfortable. They are deliberately uncomfortable, and you are taking on that challenge. And some of the greatest extremes of that are people like Saint Maximilian Kolbe, who stepped up in the concentration camp and said, "Don't take the life of that man. I will replace him." And there's so many stories throughout history, and they don't have to be those life-threatening. They can be the simple things, like you're on a train or a bus, and somebody gets on, and you're seated, and you stand up and give them your seat, because you're putting their wants and needs. They have a cane, they have a little kid in their arms, whatever. Those simple acts of putting someone else's wants and needs before your own are acts of servanthood. And then the whole concept of mindset of being a leader, that you actually see yourself standing in the gap as a leader because you are influencing your community, you're influencing your family, you're influencing the politics of wherever you're living at, and you are influencing others to live a life of holiness, to live a life of virtue, to live a life of goodness, and not taking the comfortable, easy route of justifying ego, greed, or your dislike or hatred of someone or something. And trust me, it's not about perfection, because we cannot be perfect. We all have failings. We all have struggles. But that warrior, servant, leader mindset is a mindset that you're going to be consistent in your engaging adversity, in engaging opportunity, in engaging difficult situations, and that you're going to make choices that align with that faith, hope, and love values, as opposed to making choices that align with your sense of ego, greed, or dislike or hatred. Now, how do we know if evil is winning? I mean, if this is a battle, and normally, it's like somebody's got to win. A standoff of détente or whatever terms they used to use back in the Cold War era is people fight battles in order to win. Nobody goes to battle to lose. So how do we know if evil is winning? When this question gets asked and nobody can answer it, here's the question. Where have all our warrior servants and leaders gone? And nobody can answer that. Then we know evil is winning. Ego, greed, and hate thrive in silence and in indifference. That Kermit the Frog meme, drinking the Lipton tea, going, hey, it's none of my business. That's where evil thrives. And the famous quote, when good men do nothing. That's when evil thrives. So my challenge to you, ordinary people doing ordinary things with extraordinary impact by standing in that gap, by standing up, showing up, and defending what you believe. And don't be Kermit the Frog sipping tea going, none of my business. And when I say standing in the gap, I'm not talking about heroic, although those opportunities may arise. You've seen the school shootings where a young teenager shields another child or classmate and ends up dying. And those are heroic acts, and I get that. And those opportunities or those situations may arise in your life, and you make that choice. But I'm talking equally important and more frequently seen as the opportunities to do what the practical things, doing them with courage, and doing them with consistency. I think I shared this story once before, but the first time I took the lieutenant's test, I scored number 3 on the exam, and I got my results in the mail, and I realized civil service had given me too many points for time and grade. And I called, and that was on a Friday afternoon, and that evening they had already closed. So I called on Monday morning and told them, I think you gave me too many points. And they called me back a half hour later and go, you're absolutely correct. We gave everybody too many points. We're going to have to recalculate, so disregard that that list that you're on. And I was number 3. And I was going to get promoted. And I went from number 3 to number 13. And in my book, that course of action that I took was because I have that warrior servant leader mindset. Doing the right things at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons. And it wasn't anything extraordinary. It was the right thing to do, and that's the path I took. And that's what I'm talking about, standing in the gap. It would have been easy for my ego or for my greed to get promoted. Oh, I'm going to get a paycheck increase. Oh, I'm going to get bars on my collar. I'm going to be a person of influence and impact because these butter bars, lieutenant bars, say I'm in a position of leadership. And I didn't fall for that. And that's no great, if I kept my mouth shut, the first 3 of us would have got promoted. Nobody would have been the wiser. And, shame on them for giving me too many points. That's evil. It's not faith, love, and hope. So, here's my conclusion. Here's my call to action. Evil is real. It's persistent. It is multifaceted. It comes in all shapes and sizes, and it's not just about money. The cure isn't abstract. The cure to standing in the gap against evil is being a person of faith, love, and hope in the way you think, the way you talk, and the way you act. And that should be embodied in your everyday life. History, philosophy, scripture, all confirm it. When virtue stands boldly in the face of evil, against vice, against corruption, against greed, faith, hope, and love always prevail. So, stand in the gap. Stand up, show up, be a warrior, be a servant, and be a leader. If this message today strikes you, inspires you, encourages you, please share it with other people that you know need to hear the same message. And as always, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Pat Welsh JD, or on the Warrior Servant Leader podcast.com. Jump on there. All our episodes are on there and some other resources. And give me a holler. Get on my calendar and let's chat if you need some encouragement or some direction. So, always strive to do the right thing at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons, because that's what warriors, servants, and leaders do. Love y'all, and see you next Tuesday.